Hello, Linus, Duke, and Dan. Question for Luke. I currently am desperately searching for a job in a market that seems almost dead for developers. What do you think of jobs that ghost applicants?
We've done it by accident. I am sincerely sorry for anyone that we ever didn't get back to. It was not our intent.
Sometimes I end up doing it, and I don't also, like he's saying, intend to, but for some of the positions here, we just get an insane amount of applicants, and it's a little bit hard to keep track. You can keep bumping to get a response, but in general, you're recognizing that it's a tough market out there. Don't just apply to one place.
Yeah.
And don't wait.
Dude, I had not one,
take care of yourself first.
but 2 articles in my news feed, like before even refreshing, that were like, I've applied to 900 jobs and haven't gotten an interview, and I've applied to 400 jobs and haven't gotten an interview. It seems like it's getting hungry out there.
A big part of the problem is?
Spicy take incoming.
No.
Oh, okay.
AI written applications.
Oh.
AI written cover letters, AI written applications. Application
they're
rates
so good
at jobs are going through the roof, not in line with unemployment, because the barrier to apply to places is lower than ever, especially when they ask for cover letters and stuff, because people just aren't writing them.
Interesting.
And then the average quality of people's writing is going up because a lot of AI writing is better than the average person's writing. Yeah.
Now tell me this, if you're using AI to write your application and then they're using AI to sort it.
Yep. This is a whole thing.
How are the humans actually involved in this transaction?
Welcome
I really
to current year. This
think
is
we're
awful.
Gonna have to find some way to change the dynamic of how hiring works. I don't know what the answer is, but
we go back to everyth's in person.
You walk into a store and hand in a resume like your dad told you to?
Yeah, we meet potential employees at events
job
and adventures.
fairs.
We have to go back to online dating, but for jobs.
I feel
speed applications. You all get together and did speed dating, but job applications.
Ooh.
Man. Crazy. No, do not show up here with a resume. I'm just saying. You know what was very surprising to me when we did the screwdriver pop up.
Sorry. Tim 000X3, and I actually do believe this. My brother-in-law uses a bot to apply to 1,000 jobs a day. He got 10 offers since he started, 0 before. And people hear that, so then they start doing that. Because if you're getting 0 offers, you're desperate, right? You're going to do something. This makes sense. You have to self-preserve, right? People are going to try to fight. So they're going to hear that, then they're going to start doing that. And now this person who was previously able to apply to, I don't know, maybe 50 jobs a day max, is now applying to 1,000. Then you times that by a bunch of people, and then all the workplaces have too many applications, so it either takes them basically months to go through it, which is what some of the positions I've had where I have 2,200 applicants. It's going to take an obscene amount of time to go through it all, or they don't feel like doing all that work, so they just sort it with some algorithm or AI reading thing or something. So this is broken, basically. And I'm genuinely, I have no clue what the next step is, but I really hope, I don't know, some startup or something finds some solution to solve this, because it's bad.
At the Precision pop-up, I noticed we had a little booth that was like an LMG jobs booth, and I was Ariana and the new HR. Oh shoot, Ashley
Probation, I think.
Well, whatever. Whoops.
I'm pretty sure that's wrong anyway, so I think you're okay.
Nice. Yeah, let's go with that.
I'm gonna say pretty sure, but yeah.
Cool. Anyway, they were there, and I dropped in, and I was just like, "What are you guys doing here?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, it was someone in management's idea." And I'm like, they're like, "Why? Is it a problem?" I'm like, "No, I'm just wouldn't have occurred to me in 1,000 years to have an LMG jobs booth at a product launch pop-up thing." But I talked to them after the fact, and they were like, "Yeah, we were actually what's the not bumpin' would be like club, right? Yeah, they were like booming, business was booming was effectively what they said, and I was like, oh, that is cool. And I guess in the context of this conversation, that makes sense. Like, we're going back to in human connections to wild, right? Like, that's not what I was told growing up. I was told, send your resume, maybe drop it off, ask to speak to a hiring manager, but like, good luck. None of them are going to talk to you by the time that advice made its way to me. So
yeah,
wild. I don't know if I ever got a job out of the blue. I'm trying to think. Like, I volunteered at the pool.
Oh, dude.
What?
My family oh yeah, all of us. My mom got into the film industry by biking up to a film set and like talking to the director. And then the director could tell they were in like the middle of nowhere. So he was like, yeah, sure, bring me your resume like today, as like a joke. And she actually biked all the way back home and then biked all the way back to the set and gave him a resume. And he was like, that's nuts. Sure, you have a job. And then she that was a union position. So she skipped the whole like, you have to work through indies to get into the union thing, because she technically got union hours from that, meaning that she was in the union. So then she was just working for like big Netflix shows immediately. Almost all my early career jobs I just got by like basically showing up and being like, I'll work right now. I can do this right now. And they were like, sure. I'm sure my brother has similar stories. My family's kind of, we've been all over that. Yeah.
In response to your question, how did I get a job at NCIX? I was well known on their forum. They had thousands and thousands of posts. They very much knew who I was before I showed up with the resume.
Kind of how Sean got a job. Sort of. He still had to like
from our info team
win the interview rounds or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he had to go through the process.
But we absolutely knew who he was.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it sucks out there. It sucks real bad. It sucks for both sides, because I've gone to pretty crazy lengths, and it's sometimes taken a long time to fill positions in some of my teams because of the insane waves of applicants we'll get. The most we ever got, I think, was like 2,300. But properly giving an appropriate amount of time to each one of the 22-ish hundred applications is brutal.
Hold on a second. Who is Top Gear 1224? Says he was notorious, actually. What was your username on the NCIX forum? You too, Tybeck. I want to know now.
I knew Linus from the NCIX forum.
Let's see if I remember them, or if I get to pull Thanos. I don't even know who you are. We'll see if we get a response. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted there.
So like it sucks for the people putting in applications, and it also sucks for the other side, because I don't know that having an ocean of applicants actually means that you are for sure going to get like the best one, because it's such a crapshoot. When you're just going off of pieces of paper that try to describe a person, it's like, no, dude.
Depends on what they're applying for. Like, if they're applying for a writing position, piece of paper's pretty good.
Yeah, maybe.
As long as they actually wrote it.
If the piece of paper is writing, but are you actually getting the writing sample with the initial application, or are you just getting their resume and stuff? Depends. And then you request the writing sample afterwards?
Depends. I mean, a lot of the time you can, at least if they actually wrote it, you can tell a lot about someone's writing ability from their resume.
Another problem, because it's pretty easy. Like, okay, cool, we have this super neato, was this written by AI checker, except that so did the people that are trying to get past it. So they can just make small edits until it says 0%. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Top Gear was memeing, and Tyback says, you don't know me, but you were impossible to miss on the NCIX forums.
That sounds likely.
Yeah, it's kind of my jam. No, there's no archive, Noki. It's actually a real shame. There was a lot of tech knowledge lost there. It was low-key, like, kind of an amazing resource, an amazing archive, because the threads about products were tied to the bottom of the product page. So if you browsed the product archive, you could find all this discussion about products that was highly, highly relevant and probably difficult to track down anywhere else. It's a real shame that that site is just vanished into the ether now. I maintain that I would love to acquire the domain and IP and resurrect it, but we have not been able to reach an agreement that I consider to be reasonable up until this time. Taryn asked me about it the other day, though. He was like, do you like still want to do that? I'm like, sure. Like, if you can negotiate it, but the offer that I got last time had no basis in reality. So it was very difficult for me to...
as time goes on, too, it's worth less and less. Like, are they recognizing that?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to them about it in a while. Basically, the last time I made an offer, it was pretty much based on the cost of a 4letter.com and then plus like some. And then what they came back to me with was essentially an offer that would have some kind of like long-term revenue share and like a bunch of, and I'm sitting here going,
no,
you understand that this brand is like completely trashed and worthless, right? Like, it's not, even the people who know what NCIX is know that it imploded spectacularly and was like shady at the end. Like, it's the IP is worth nothing. The brand is worth nothing. It's a 4letter.com
with people's personal information on them were auctioned off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
The Bitman asks, if you got ncix.com, would you bring back the NetLinked name? No, I think what I would do with the NCIX channel is like a software and troubleshooting channel. I think that would be the closest thing to sort of its origin story,
sure,
while also fitting in well with our current portfolio of channels. I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah.
Top Gear asks, is the issue the creditors or the seller? Or that's not really what they asked, but whatever, close enough. It's a combination, right? Because the ownership of the IP was not necessarily the corporate NetLink Computer Inc. So if I were to acquire it, there could be some dispute as to who I was supposed to pay for it. And none of that, as far as I can tell, has been legally resolved. And no one who's involved has any interest or any motivation to resolve it until someone comes in with a bag of money. So it's kind of a chicken and egg problem. Yeah. So I just think it's gonna just languish forever. And I think that's also something that the seller doesn't understand, is the baggage associated and the risk associated with digging up this corpse. Could be diseased.
They'll just never sell it, though.
I mean, they'll die eventually.
But that's not them selling it.
No, I just mean, like, I don't know, I remember telling my wife at some point, she wanted me to like pick something up, and I was like, any problem goes away if you wait long enough. She's like, no. I'm like, no, really. I mean, yeah, eventually we're all just gonna, big crunch or whatever the current theory is for how the universe ends. And none of this is going to matter. Yeah, eventually.
The fact that humans were on this planet will be irrelevant.
Eventually. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
When the sun just goes, whoop.
Wait, we digging up corpses to eat? No, just roadkill. I wanna be U.S. president.
It's recycling.